It's a great honor and a privilege to introduce Mr. Manfred Avram Moshe Hildesheim. We're here in your beautiful apartment in Rishon LeZion. And Manfred, can I just ask, you were born in Germany?
Yes, but when I was 7 years old, we immigrated to Denmark because my mother was from Denmark. And my grandfather in Copenhagen, he saw in 35 what happened in Germany, and he told my father and mother, take your Pekelach and come to us in Denmark. And he guaranteed for us. And so we in 35 we emigrated to Denmark, and in the 9th of April in the 40, the German occupied Denmark in 4 hours, and so the German they didn't do anything against the Jews.
I just want to ask, Manfred, were you born in Hamburg?
Yeah.
In what year?
In 27.
In 1927.
Yes.
And your father, he was German? He was born
Surely
in
Germany? I have here the whole Mishpuchologia here. They came from the town of Hildesheim in the period of when Jonathan Eiberschmidt was a rabbi in Hamburg. It is about more than 200 years ago, and nearly 300 years ago, when they came to Hamburg. And then my father, grandfather, they were living in Hamburg, and when we came to Denmark, in Denmark we lived together with the Germans doing anything about...
I just want to ask, before we go into in Denmark, growing up in Hamburg...
I have been in Hamburg sometimes.
Do you remember growing up in Hamburg?
Surely, I was invited in Hamburg about 20 years ago, no more, 25 years ago. The mayor of Hamburg invited all the ehemalige Hamburger, and we were a week in Hamburg on the Cheshbon.
On the account.
Of the count of the major, and so there was in Hamburg, and I remember all the things because the school was still today Talmud Torah Schule. It is still a building, and now it is again a Jewish school, and
you grew up in a religious family?
Surely. My grandfather was always. We always have been in the Orthodox Jews, and so we came to Denmark.
But before you came, I just want to ask, what is your first recollections of Hamburg? Mm-hmm. What do you remember as a child growing up in Hamburg?
I remember a lot of things. I remember all the things when I was a little boy. My grandfather took me to the synagogue, the big synagogue in Hamburg, and Simchas Teure. Everybody gave me chocolate because I was the only grandchild, you said, because I told you that the brother of my father was killed in the first war. Yes.
He fought for Germany.
Yeah, and I got his name, and so I was the only grandchild he had. So it was very fair of my grandfather was on the first row in the synagogue, near to the chair of the grand rabbi. So when we came in the synagogue, the first row. Why the first row? But my grandfather was the first Jew who bought the first place of the synagogue when it was built. You see, So when I remember the rabbi.
Who was the rabbi? Do you remember the name?
Sure, Dr. Spitzer, Shmuel Spitzer, and his grandchild is a rabbi in Mali Lubuna, where my brother is living. So I remember him, and all what I had of him, I had a picture, and also I make a design of him, and I gave it to his grandchild in Mali Lubuna.
Wow.
When his name is Yair Shachor. But his his mother was a grandchild of Rav Spitzer, and I remember him. And he died in 34, and I remember him. Afterward came the Rabbi Josef Karlebach, 2 years after this, and he was killed in Riga, you see.
And you remember Rabbi Karlebach?
Surely, I remember him also the Karlebach. I remember him as he was a rabbi in Altona. Altona is today Altona is in Hamburg, but at that time there was the synagogue in Altona and a Jewish community in Altona, and he was the rabbi there. And I remember him. It's also interesting. He was a big, he was a personality special. And he was a rabbi there, and I remember it was Shabbat, Chanukah, and he arranged a Jugendgottesdienst, a mincha special for the youth. It was in 33, I think. And I had a relative in Hamburg, he was a Yatom, and he took me I was 6-year-old, I think, and he told me it was Shabbos afternoon, and he took me to Altona. It was 1 hour to go to there, and all the small children, they sat on the first row, and the rabbi was standing there, and he told to the whole family, and his motto was to send the Jews to Eretz Israel. It was, and he spoke and he sang and make a bracha for all body. So I also got a bracha. It was a bracha I'm living today. But this was not the first time I get a bracha from him when I was only 4 days, because his wife, the Rabbanit, she also he was also he nalda gam bat boto cheder.
She was born in the same
room where my mother. Wow. And so my mother remembered that he came and make a bracha of all the wives. So I also get a bracha. So I was a 4-day-old, I think. So that was the relation with Karlebach. 2 years ago, I was in Hildesheim to make an evening to remember the Josef Karlebach. Wow. He was the last rabbi in Germany, the last Orthodox rabbi in Germany, and he would not leave his kehillah, and so the Germans take him with the last transport to Riga. And there he murdered him.
In Rumbala, most probably in Rumbala, in Riga.
Yes, and there's
in the forest, there's Rumbala.
Yes, there he was killed, together with the last community from Hamburg.
And can I ask, you went to the Cheder in Hamburg?
And the Cheder was a big school, a Talmud Torah Schule, in the first class and also the half of the second class. Because I came to school in 34, and 35 we left to Denmark.
And can I ask, what type of work did your father do?
My father was a temp sailor. He was also my grandfather in Copenhagen. He was also a dealer of stamps.
Of stamps?
Yes.
Your father was a stamp dealer?
Yeah.
Wow.
Philatelist.
And that was his profession? That was his...
Yes. And also profession of my grandfather.
Oh, wow. But that's amazing.
Yeah, he was in Hamburg. He was a very known. He was selling. He was taking from the post letters and all things, and he washed it and make envelopes to the different shops of stamps.
And were you ever interested in collecting stamps?
I also had a big collection from Israel. The old German post, the Italian post, and the Turkish post. But I sold it because I was interested in as you know, it is costing, and I need to buy this. I need the money, and also one thing, my grandchildren, they're not interesting. But I have another collection which is much more interesting. I am a collector of Haggadot Shel Pesach.
Wow.
And here I have about 2,500 Haggadot.
Can I ask, Manfred, how did your parents meet? How did your parents meet? How did they decide to get married, your parents? Because your mother came from Denmark.
No, my father, my mother, they know one another in the Chatuna of their brother and sister. My eldest, the brother of my mother, he got married with the sister of my father. And on their Chasne, my father and my mother knows one another.
They met each other.
So we was we have grandparents together.
Wow.
You see, and but he was in Denmark. 10% of the Jews, the Germans, they kept, and they sent them to Theresienstadt. And there my uncle, the brother of my mother, he died.
In Theresienstadt.
But his wife and the children, 4 children, they came back to Denmark in the last weeks from the war. You see, you don't know the history, the whole history you have here.
No, I know. Moshe, can I just ask you, when you left Hamburg,
Yes.
Were you had to leave family behind when you went to Denmark? Did your father's family, your grandparents, did you?
No, they became to the family of my wife. All was bad.
I know, but when you left Hamburg, was it difficult to leave?
You see, I was mourning.
Crying.
I cried, yes, because in Hamburg was very good. I didn't feel something anti-Semitic, not at all. I was playing with the Schutzim and.
Were you playing with the non-Jewish children
Yes,
as
surely.
well?
Nobody said me something.
And did you wear a head covering or?
I was, when I was a boy, in a basket.
A cap?
Yeah, a cap. All the children at that time, in winter they make a...
And you never felt any anti-Semitism?
Not at all. Only my mother told me that I was a little boy, I was playing in the stable. Then once I came at home, and a guy has written Jude verrecke, but I don't remember it. But that's the only my mother told me, and And I played with them. Nobody told me anything. We wasn't playing, and you see, the school, Jewish school, is about 500 children. It was the best Jewish school in whole Germany. The Talmud Torah Oberrealschule. I have a picture of the school also, and we came to Denmark because I've been this summer. I've been in Denmark because of the bar mitzvah of a cousin, and so I saw the difference. In Hamburg it was a big school, and I was, in Hamburg was about 20,000 Jews. In Denmark was about 5,600, not more. In the school in Hamburg, the school, a big school, and in Copenhagen, the Jewish school was so. And also, I have no relation with I have a big family, and so I don't have relation with the boys that was in the school. I had 2 or 3 comrades, that's all. Comrades, with the mother of them had been the friends of my mother when they was children.
And did you know any Danish when you went to Denmark?
I know in German we speak only German. My mother, she learned German, and when I came to Denmark the first time, my mother said we have only to speak Danish because the Danish are not loving the German. So I learned in 3 months I spoke Danish, and I have nearly forgotten the German. If not the grandfather of my father, they came the last moment in 39, some months before the war. They came to Denmark, and so my grandpa, he was 70. He said, "Hier wird nur Deutsch gesprochen." He only know German, but the grandmother, she tried to learn Danish. Her mother, they came from Altona. From Altona it was Danish until Bismarck. He made in '64 a big war against Denmark.
1864.
And so they took a third of Denmark to him. So Altona was German, and so her father was he was very stolz that he's a Danish citizen, but he couldn't and he spoke German, but they was Danish until Bismarck came and took Altona to Germany. But there was a very Khrushchev family in Altona. So they one of the only old families in Altona. But so my grandmother, she arranged in Danish.
And when was your sister born?
Wasn't in Hamburg.
So your sister...
But she was 4 years when we left Hamburg. She couldn't remember something. But I remember the school, and I can tell you, when I was about 6 years, I read only. I was 5 years at home. My father learned me German and also Hebrew letters. So I was 6 years old. I think I could read. And the way from the school to home, it was about half an hour. On the way, there was the Stürmer. You know what the Stürmer?
It was a newspaper.
Yes. In every corner in Hamburg, there was the Stürmer. And then I also saw a lot of people. I also saw there, and what happened. And when my mother, of one of my comrades, she saw that I was there. He phoned to my mother, "How you can make that your son is reading this?" My mother said, I don't know what it was. Also, afterwards he told me they're not good signs. But nobody knows I'm Jew. In Hamburg, every time I have never seen something special that can be anti-Semitic. Afterwards, when we left Hamburg, the day before we left Hamburg, in all the parks there was written "Juden verboten."
There was after.
Yeah, but it was a day before when we went to the Copenhagen.
And that's when all the anti-Jewish...
In the first October 35, we left Hamburg the 2nd October. One day before the whole Juden verboten. But I don't remember it. I remember we got away and I was crying that we had to left Hamburg.
You remember saying goodbye to your friends and your family?
No, but I only remember that we were playing. I know where we were living in Hamburg there was also other Jewish families, but we have no connection. Everybody for himself.
And your parents, did they experience any anti-Semitism? Your father?
My father, yes, surely. But not so special that he, because a lot of Jews in Hamburg, they said, this is nothing, you see, it will go over.
No, lama. Asur.
Okay.
Asur.
No. Wow, thank you very much.
The curry is good. Thank you. Please very much.
Wow, Manfred, that's amazing. But your father, did he still have his clients? That he could sell his stamps?
Yes.
He still had his clients?
Yes, there was no anti-Semitism. Between our colleagues, nobody was anti-Semite. Not at all. Not at all. In Hamburg it was the red town of Germany.
Okay, sure.
They had to be Nazism, but I don't remember. One day I see in the 1st May the communists on one side and the Nazism for the other side, and they make a Raj Gadol. And
a big noise?
And a big noise. And I asked my father, what is it? He said, that's not for you. A boy of 6 years, I know what is communism, what is Nazism.
And do you remember seeing the Nazi flag?
Yes, I remember, but it was, for me, when I have nobody told me something against me, what can I, but all the Schutzim and the cameras on the street, nobody said anything to me. So I cannot say, I remember something anti-Semitic. Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all. I remember I was at the synagogue and the school, the Jewish school.
Sure, that's amazing. And when you came to Denmark, did you stay with your family in Denmark?
Surely. And in school, in the class in Hamburg, we have had more. I can show you. I have the big picture of the school and the comrades. But in Copenhagen, in the class there was about 20, and in Hamburg there was about 35, maybe more. But in Copenhagen I had only two or three comrades, which mothers was a comrade of my mother.
And were you in a Jewish school in Copenhagen?
Surely, in a Jewish school, yes, surely. But the Jewish school, it was nothing like in Germany, because in the Jewish school only two teachers were Jews, and the rest was not Jews. And in Hamburg, everybody was a Jew. You see.
So here we have a picture of your parents.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I have the picture of my grandfather and the grandmother, and also the elder one. I also had a figure. I can show you. I have pictures. The only picture of my grandfather, grand-grandfather, but it was at the beginning of the photograph at all. the beginning of the photograph is about in 1850, I think. It was also the Jews. They learned it very quickly. In Hamburg there were four photograph Jews for photographs. The best one of the in the whole Hamburg was the Jews.
They were photographers.
Yes, I have a big book. Somebody write about the 4 Jewish photographs in Hamburg.
Okay. Manfred, here you have photographs of the matzebot, of the tombstones of your family in Hamburg.
Yes, but I will tell you that it is not sure that it is all my family. There was a cemetery, old cemetery, and the German told to take it off, and all the matzebes from the family of Hildesheim, because I was there and I saw the whole Shura,
the whole row,
right? All Hildesheim, what there was in the municipality of Hamburg, a Goy Herz. He was of a Jewish family, and he, in the amount of the municipality, he took all the bones of all the Hildesheim and put it in one row. And this is the ground of the Jewish community in Hamburg, and he was not yashar, not right of the ground of my family. You see, the Yeshaya Hildesheim from the town of Hildesheim, but 100 years after this, there was another also come from Hildesheim, and he was the grounder of my family, but he was the grounder of the family of my mother. Not right, but so like this. This is him, Yeshaya Hildesheim, and then all the matzebes, and he was during the war. It was about in 41, I think. He took most of the bones to the big cemetery in Hamburg, in Ohlsdorf. So I saw the whole Hildesheim. This is good. But I have more. זה פה יש לי. פה יש לי בדיוק. אני שמתי את זה פה. This is my grandfather, Hildesheim. קראו לו אברהם מוישה Hildesheim. This is his second wife, and there was three children, I think, boy David, and this is Mina, and my grandfather was not born. This is the oldest, and this is about 1860. You know, the only this is a matzeva of him, but today matzeva is this. But I wrote what is written on the matzeva. The man was reading on the matzeva.
Could you read it?
Surely that I could, but when I was the second time there, it was called Oldro. It was here, and the Rabbanit, and his wife is here. This is the grandmother. She was about 30 years, and he was 80 years.
Wow. That's the same lady in the picture.
Huh?
That's the same lady, that's the grandmother, many years later.
The grandmother of my father.
How did the picture survive? This is such an old. This is an original.
Surely.
It's an original picture. I'm just
At
going to
that
put
time, a picture was a picture. Today a picture is not a picture.
How did it survive?
I have also some old pictures of...
Moshe, Manfred, can you read what's written on the Mateva?
At that time, when I was the first time there, I was there in Hamburg after the war in 40... when I was in Hamburg the first time, about 49, I think, 49. After the war, 49 was on the way to Switzerland, was there, and this must say, all right, I could read it. But when it was the second time, it was like this. Here, so you see.
It's the same picture.
The same picture again, here. Here, this and this. Nobody but at that time, when it was first time I could read, was there. This I put in here. Okay, so it was here. This is the ketubah. The ketubah of my grandfather. But I have, the original I have another place. It is a picture. It's a photograph.
This is the ketubah,
yeah, of my grandfather, of him, of my grandfather. I'll show you. Here. The balagan. It is a balagan here. You see. It's not chronological. It is a photo big. The original is not. It's only like this on parchment.
On parchment.
Here. Balagan. I haven't.
No, but this is
It's in Sweden. In Sweden, for the old people, they make a special hotel in Hildesheim. For the old Jewish people, it came from Denmark. And my grandmother, she is here. This is my grandmother. But I have a picture. You will see. I will show you. I have it. This is the Mateva of my grandparents in Copenhagen. Copenhagen. The Matzeva of the soldier, which my father's brother, it's the Matzeva of him. Okay.
And when he was in the First World War?
Yeah, he fall in the text.
There's the text from there.
And his sister was 4 years old. He also died of diphtheritis in the same year. And a family of mine, he went to Hamburg some years ago, and he made the photo for me. The text in the school, the Jewish school, all the soldiers who fell in the first World War, and here the names of him, he is here. Moses Hildesheim. You see, they were all the soldiers of Hamburg which fell down, which was killed.
And they fought for Germany in the First World War?
Yes. And you see how much?
Oh, there were many.
All this.
They gave their lives.
All this, about some hundreds.
Sure.
And he was studying at the Rabbinai seminar of the Rabbanim in Berlin.
Wow.
You know, he was a machshava to be a rabbi. Yes.
He wanted to be a rabbi.
Yeah, and the whole class all failed because the K'tzinim, they were anti-Semitic, sent the Jews on the fourth row. And you see, his machshava was to be a rabbi. And now, Baruch Hashem, I have 2 sons which are rabbanim, and also a son in law, also a rabbi. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
He guesses here that is here. He was who fell in the first world.
This is a picture of
the soldier who fell down. Yes.
What is so sad.
He was 20 years old. In Verdun.
And Moshe, who's in the picture on the over here? Who in this picture?
And this is a little girl. He was 4 years old, or in the same year I think he died with diphtheritis.
And it was this a sister?
Sister, yes. So they were my father. There were 5 brother and a sister. She married the brother of my mother, and there was a little girl and my father. There were 5. And there was an uncle who is not married. זה משפוך. זהו בדיוק ככה. This is my father, his sister, she married the brother of my mother, and the youngest boy, he was not married.
Moshe, Manfred, if I can have a closer... And who's in the picture over here?
No, this brother of that is my father, that's the sister. Here you have it more.
Oh, here it's the same.
And he was not married.
And then here's and at the bottom?
Here, that's my father, and the sister, and my grandmother, with a little girl who died. And there's the big brother who fell in the boat. Before the World War, I think. After the World War.
And I just want to show closer. This is...
And the matzeva of him.
This was... You can see a real photo from Hamburg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this
but
is...
It's not actually...
It's from...
This is the matzeva of him. רגע אחד, צריך להיות תמונה יפה מסבא וסבתא. זה בלגן פשוט, אני באמצע, אני רוצה להעביר זה... אני רוצה להעביר זה למשהו יותר חשוב. בינתיים זה ככה. I have no time. I always say tomorrow, 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 and tomorrow is not tomorrow. איפה שמתי זה? פה יש סבא וסבתא יוצא באף. זה יותר אקטואלי. פה אתה רואה. This is in Sweden. And the Sweden is a hotel where they lived, and did a grandmother and I in Sweden. And this is, we came back from Sweden, and this was it was in 1948. This is grandpa, grandmother, and this I am. This is a brother of my father. This is my father, my mother. And Judith, she's living in Bnei Barak. He was in Theresienstadt. She is now 95. And this is my grandmother when he was a week before he died. He was 82 that she was playing the piano. Yeah. In the kindergarten in Copenhagen. They took her. Here. You.
This is your.
I am my grandmother.
That's you and your grandmother.
In Sweden. I was about 16 years old. The grandmother. Hildesheim. It was a place where the Jewish played team. It was
refugee
in Sweden.
I'm going to keep this.
44 to 45.
I'm just going to keep this on the side. We'll put it back. I'll keep it on the side. It's amazing. And is there any more pictures? This is so priceless. If we can see some more pictures. Remember, this is unbelievable. While you're doing that, I'm going to just show this. He showed me as well. This is Hamburg.
Yeah, and the Jewish market in Hamburg about
1888.
88 years.
So this I just want to keep on the side.
Sure.
Remember, this is incredible.
It's
priceless.
And this is in Copenhagen. Oh, you see, that is the place in Hildesheim in Sweden where the old people were. That is the house in Hamburg where they were living.
That's your house in Hamburg?
Yeah, no, father and mother was living. My grandparents was living Bornstraße 22. It was here. And they had a garden with a Zucker. And this is when they left there, they came to the elderly people house. It is still in Hamburg. And this is where they came in Denmark. They had an apartment here. This is the court of the synagogue. And after they were living here in here you have them. This is grandfather and grandmother when they were engaged. And this is her father, who was a citizen of Altona when it was Denmark.
And these are all the originals.
Yeah, he was from Altona.
You can see, did he have smicha? Was he a rav? Was he a rabbi?
No, he was not a
Just
rabbi.
from you?
No, he was a gabbai in the Chava Kadisha. And he was very shuv.
Very important.
Important that he was a Danish citizen before Bismarck.
It's amazing. You can see from Hamburg, from the embossed on the photo at the bottom, from the
in the Altona. It's going to be yesterday. So, yeah. Sabbath from my father's side, and this is the parents of my mother's side. Here's the parents. See, look. Parents of my mother's side.
This is the parents of your... Do you know what year the picture was taken?
Huh?
Do you know when it was taken?
About in 31, 32 maybe, on the boat from Copenhagen to Malmö. Yeah, very good. And she was born in Sweden. He was born in Sweden, and her parents, they came from Lita.
Do you know where in Lita? Do you know where in Lita?
I have here the documents from Lita also. That is the... Yes. It's a picture of... Here. That is my mother. That is my mother. The picture, you see, the older picture. This must be in 1910.
And is this in Denmark, this
Yeah,
picture?
it's in Denmark, yes. You see the old, but they're good. You know how it is clear today? Nothing clear.
And they were very religious. You can see from the picture, very orthodox.
Surely. My grandfather was, he had a shul at home.
Okay, you can see.
He couldn't go somewhere. He had 3 Sefer Torahs.
In his home?
Yes. In every Shabbat we had a minyan.
And Manfred, who's in the picture?
No, there's a grandfather and grandmother
Oh, grandfather and grandmother.
on the mother's side. This is a good picture. This here. Balagan, you know. This is he was living. Yeah, grandfather, the grandfather of my mother. The grandfather of my mother. Did it about 1900. You see, also very good photos.
So this was also in Denmark?
Also in Denmark, yes.
And this picture next to?
That he one of he had 13 children. So I don't know who was it. One of the daughters, I think. So.
This is incredible.
You know, it is not in order, the balagan.
But it's still unbelievable. Manfred, it's incredible.
Here you have the family of my mother's side. He was in Sweden, yes. The parents came from Lita. This is her. Yeah, this is her grandfather from the mother's side. They came from Lita. Yeah. And he was a daughter of a rabbi.
Here you can see who the photographer, wow. And Meyer, it's
No, the photo was made in Copenhagen.
in Copenhagen. But also very,
And
the quality is incredible. It's
and he was not a rabbi, but he was living in Göteborg, in Gothenburg, and he was one of the grounders of the Orthodox synagogue in Göteborg. And he wrote in Yiddish, the grandmother, Yiddish. She did not speak, not Danish and not Swedish. Okay, the Matseva. I was during the war. I was in Sweden, in Göteborg, the Danish school for the Danish immigrants. This is the Matseva of him. He died in Sweden. Sweden. Here the the founder of the family of my mother. The founder of the family of my mother, 300 years ago, he and he. They came originally from Germany, but the station before they came to Copenhagen, it was in Amsterdam. They were German Jews.
And Moshe, is this a...
Okay, as you see, he died in 70 and 70 and 31. About 300 years ago. I make the sign because the original of the pictures is in London. And this was, my mother said, it was the grandfather of my mother. This photo may be from 1850, 55 maybe, of the first photographs that existed. Saba, he has a private synagogue at home, and the three Sefer Torahs, one of my uncle, he sold it, and the other one is still in Bnei Barak, but it is Pasul, and the third one, it was stolen in Switzerland. So, but this is the mantle of one of them. This is now in Hechel Shlomo.
In Hechel Shlomo in Yerushalayim?
Okay, I gave them it because what I can do with them. This two of them. This And there's the one in Bnei Barak. עכשיו זה old cemetery in Copenhagen. Where they are, the old cemetery in Copenhagen, with the graves of them.
And it still exists today?
Yes, the whole today. And this is a photo of my king. This is my mother with all the children together. They were 11.
Your mother's in the middle?
11, and that's my mother.
It's a beautiful photo.
It was, I think the photo, it was 25 years, no, the silver marriage of the parents.
Of the parents.
It must be in 1916.
1916?
Yes.
And on the other side?
This is my mother, and my grandfather is my mother. There's a sister of my mother too. When my mother was engaged. This is the grandbrother of my mother who killed in Theresienstadt. His wife, and this is the Matseva of his wife in Copenhagen. So, my father, my mother. The marriage.
That's wonderful.
Yes. The marriage of my parents. Look.
And were they married in Hamburg?
They were married in Copenhagen.
Oh, they went to Copenhagen for the chasana, for the... This is in Copenhagen.
This is father, mother, I, my sister.
This is such a beautiful picture. And in what year?
Huh?
What year is this?
What year it is? It is, I think, it must be I think when we came home from Sweden, 45, I think. Maybe 45. When he came back from Sweden, so I think. You know, when at that time nobody are writing something.
Yeah, it's so true.
Today I must write.
Yeah.
But at that time, you know, I know what it is.
It's true, it's true.
Oh, to the Wouter farm. In Copenhagen, when my father was alone in the Jewish elders' home in Copenhagen. They're not interesting. But the house in Copenhagen where they're living, it's not interesting. The houses I'm living is not they ultimately private. It's all. The last photos. My father goes. Ik var loomaniën. Ik var ההורים שלי. מה זה פה? They're not special. You saw the most interesting thing of the family.
So Manfred, you have over here a family tree. You have two family trees.
Yeah, here too.
If you could show it, because this is something very, very, very unique.
Yeah.
It's all very unique and all very special.
You know, I have no time to order this.
I'll put over here.
More or less. When I have much time, I will make it.
Can we see the family tree?
I guess. You will see the family tree of my father's family. In Hildesheim. So, this is the beginning. This man, he came from Hildesheim. Moshe. He came from Hildesheim about 1760, and I have a document where Jonathan Eiberschitz, he is signing it, that to Edim, telling
two witnesses.
Yes, that this man came from Hildesheim. And Eiberschitz here hiding. The original is in Hamburg, in the archive of Hamburg, but I have the photo of it. And from there I make all this.
You made this family tree?
I make it.
Wow.
You see, this is the beginning, not here, Moshe, and then Shlomo, he was, Chaim was there, and then going straight on, Moshe, David, Menucha. Moshe, Yetzre, the grandfather, Avraham Moshe, Yetzre, you saw the picture. And this is a grandfather, Yitzhak, Carolina, and then going here, my father and my mother, and this is I and my wife, and here's the sister and his family. And then the children and the grandchildren until here, before they were married.
And now we have to read many more papers, please, Carl.
But I have a classeur. I have writing everybody who is born and so I have a lot to do. You see, I have Baruch Hashem, I have a lot of grandchildren.
Baruch Hashem.
So I have a lot to do.
And Manfred, you have another family tree?
Yeah, that's on my mother's side. On the mother's side, the Mishpacha Ruben.
And you did this as well?
They came to Denmark exactly 300 years ago.
And this is Mishpacha Ruben?
Ruben, yes. They came from Germany, but they came transit Amsterdam. So there's a beginning here, and boy, I can tell you, may I have been Nordau. Okay, but here is beginning Yeshaya has Hildesheim, but of the ground of the community in Hamburg, And here, דרך זו, ככה וככה וככה, מגיע את המשפחה פה.
It's amazing, sure.
Also the, כן, זה יעקב יהודה, to my children here, so that's all.
And Manfred, you showed me, this is a book, the Talmud Torah School in Hamburg.
Yeah.
1805 to 1942, and on the cover is a picture of you.
Yeah.
And there we have the school, and we have the synagogue before it was burnt, and it was burnt in Kristallnacht.
Yeah, yes.
And we have a bigger picture of the school. The school and the shul in the background. It's amazing. This is the picture when. Can I ask, in this picture, how old were you in this picture? This.
And the first day, school day.
This is the first school day.
Yes.
It was a German custom. You were given a.
Huh?
You holding.
No, but the Schultüte. This is some special in Germany. Every boy in the first day, he gets a thing with chocolate and calmar and all the things.
And the girls get it as well?
Yes, when I got 4, because my grandmother came and said, the first day of school, it is a chagiga, no?
It's a celebration.
Celebration, yes.
And this was in
34, yes.
1934, Manfred. You can see in the book it says your name, Manfred Hildesheim, Talmud Torah in 1934. And you remember your first day of school?
Surely, die ganze Mischbuche.
It was a big celebration.
Yes.
Oh, this is something different. This is the invitation. And we're just going to have... And Manfred, you were showing me that you have here, originally from, on your wall, Manfred, you have... is this the...
This is the brother of my grandmother. She made it to her husband.
Your grandmother?
Yes, Caroline.
And this is the original, the...
Surely it must be about 1890,
1892.
I think so. 93.
And she embroidered the 2 lions on each side. But
he made it before the Chatuna.
Zachor et Yom HaShabbat LaKodsho.
Okay, it was for the Chalet. It was a Chalet taken.
Manfred, I just want to thank you so much. I cannot believe the treasures that you have. Manfred, I'm so grateful to you. I want to thank you very, very much, Manfred. This has been incredible to hear the story of your family's history in Hamburg.
Yeah.
The Jewish family history of Hamburg is your history.
It was.
The history of your family is so connected to the Jewish history of Hamburg.
Surely.
Wow.
Surely.
To have the original photographs, and this book of the Talmud Torah with you inside, it's amazing. So, Manfred, I'm so grateful to you, and I want to thank you. And you should just be in Mazel and Brocha and Meve Stream, but Bemet Toda Rabba Rabba. And here we have the
Joseph Karl Schule in Hamburg.
And it's still going.
get it now, because the Talmud Torah should know they get the name of the Rabbi Yosef Karlebach, who was a
And you remember him? You remember?
Sure, Mati. I remember it when he was a rabbi in Altona, when I was a 6-year-old. As told you, I was sitting in the first row, yes, and he was speaking there. So and I remember him.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Maybe can I ask you? You came to Denmark, to Copenhagen,
Yes.
from Hamburg. How old were you?
I told you I was a 7-year-old.
And your sister was 4.
Oh yes,
What was your sister's name?
Leah.
Leah. And you started learning Danish quite quickly.
Surely.
And
But 3 months I could already speak Danish.
and the school you went to, was it
And at the same time, in the same class, I had, in Hamburg I was in the second grade, yes, but because I couldn't speak Danish, the director he put me in the first class. But I was very, I can read German, I can read Hebrew already, and mathematics I was more than the first. The boys there, they was reading Aleph, Bet, Bet, Bo, and I already the teacher he saw that I not was there because only I had to learn the Danish. I was in the first class. But I was reading German very good, you see, and I had there 3 boys, which the mother was acquainted to my mother. So I had chaverim at the same time.
Friends.
And one of the boys, he was the boy of one of the rabbis. She came from Germany. He was a Danish, but he was a rabbi in Beuthen. And also they came because he was Danish. He came to Copenhagen, and one of the boys in this class, he speak German. So I had together with him we could speak German together, and the other boys they said, well, we are speaking about them.
And you came to Denmark in 1934.
No, in 35.
Was it 35 already?
Yeah,
It was
yes.
35.
Yes, 35.
35.
The 2nd October 35.
35, wow.
Yes. And they learned to speak Danish very quickly. And synagogue and my grandfather. And afterwards, when he died in 43, half year before the program, then his synagogue was closed, and they get order to one of the children. And after the war, during the war, all was the goyim they maxed all the things. Most of people got together all the things what they had. Also we. Only we didn't get our apartment. But most of the people who came back from Sweden, they had their goyim, they preserved their apartments, not us.
Can I just ask?
But this is a long story.
I know, much. I just want to ask, Manfred, I'd like to ask. The chief rabbi was Rabbi Friediger.
Yeah.
And here's a picture of him. And do you remember the chief rabbi?
Surely you remember him. I get a book who he signed it. He wrote Jewish history in Danish.
This is inside the main synagogue in Copenhagen, and he was sent to Theresienstadt.
Yes, yes.
But he came back. So, can I just ask, what do you remember about when the Germans occupied Denmark? What do you recall?
In the beginning, the Germans, they were not seeing them, and the soldiers, nothing special. Also in about 42 or 43, the Danish underground, they make sabotage against the Germans, and then they began with against the underground, and then Eichmann came in August 43, and then he decided also to take the Jews, but he was not. And here, Denmark was an old country where he did not. He had not a change, because the Danish underground, they arranged all the fleeing to escape to Sweden.
Can I ask, did you ever see the king, Christian X?
Oh, come on, most.
You saw him?
Surely.
This is a picture of the Christian X.
Again, he was
on his horse. Did you ever see him on his horse?
Surely, yeah. So every day you can see him in the streets. Every day. And so came many people. He was not. He was alone. He wasn't no police. He said, "I don't need police. The whole people are protecting me." And then when I saw him, I said, "The Beruche."
And can I just ask, you never had to wear the yellow star?
Well, no, in Denmark not.
Because is it true they say the stories that the King of Denmark...
There is a very nice zipper, but it's not...
It's not so true.
It is a journalist in Sweden, he made the zipper of it.
The story, but it's not a true.
No, but it could be so, because he was a big against the German.
So he was very good to the Jews.
Surely, I can tell you an anecdote. In 1933, when Hitler began the 1st April in 1933, 2 weeks after this, there was the 100th year of the synagogue in Copenhagen, and the king was invited to come. And what happened? Then the Gaboim.
And this is a picture of the Aron Kodesh from the synagogue.
Yes. The Gaboim said, "It is not good that the king shall come to the synagogue, because we will not be against Germany. You know, politica." And then the king said, Dafka, I will go to the synagogue. And all the newspapers in the whole world are writing that the Danish king is going to the synagogue.
And he went?
Surely he went to the synagogue, yes. And this was in Germany, they saw that in Denmark the king is going to the synagogue, and Hitler began the regime in Germany.
It's amazing.
That was a very good. If you can take the newspapers from the year April 33, and you will see all what the journalist was writing. This was a very big thing that the Danish king go to the synagogue.
And Manfred, can I ask, your father, was he able to be a stamp dealer in Copenhagen?
Yes, but not official. Official, he was not. He had not the Rishayon.
Like the permits and the authority?
No, it couldn't be. But illegal, he was official. He was helping to my grandfather,
who was also a stamp dealer.
Sure, but it is only official. But but my father was working alone.
And did he manage to bring collections from Hamburg when he came to Denmark?
Yeah, we got all the things from Hamburg.
He managed to bring
a big lift. We had a big lift and told all the things to Denmark. Baruch Hashem.
It's an ace. It's a miracle.
It was in 35. In 45, in 35, it was possible. You know, and also the custom, the custom official, when he came, he made a plumber on the thing, and he said to my father, "Alevai, I also can go with you."
Wow.
Okay, they were most of the officials in Hamburg, officials, they had to be Nazi, but they were not Nazi at all.
And this was in Hamburg?
I said to you, I don't feel anything about Jews and negative Jews.
And Manfred, growing up in Copenhagen, did you make more friends, and did you become more Danish? Or?
Surely, the citizen of Denmark, I only get. In Denmark you have to be 15 years to be a citizen. So I got the Danish nationality only in 51.
51.
Yes, but my mother, even if she was born in Denmark, also he had to wait 15 years to get the nationality. Today it is less. And today all the Arabs, they come to Denmark and get the Danish.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
So can I ask, and I'm sure Manfred, many people would want to know, what do you remember about being rescued and being taken to Sweden?
Oh,
it's fine, just whatever you can say.
What can I tell you? There's a long history about that.
But your personal, what happened personally?
Personally, we was living in an apartment with a friend of my father, and the underground they arranged that we can got a boat, and one morning, 2 days before Yom Kippur, we went to the harbor, and at 8 o'clock in the morning the ship was waiting. We couldn't take anything with us because it was when somebody see where to go with a bag, it is not good. So I had my tefillin and my talis, the machzor and the shofar, and some shirts with a paletot, and so we got to the downstairs near the machine. 20 people together. They closed with some breads, with some kerashim, sagru.
They closed it.
Yeah, and then
And where did you leave from? Did you leave from Copenhagen?
About 8 in the morning, when we went in the water.
But where did you leave? Where did the boat leave from? Was it from Copenhagen itself?
From the harbor of Copenhagen, yes.
And can I just ask, when was it? Was it just before Yom Kippur?
Yeah, 2 days before Yom Kippur.
And on Rosh Hashanah, did you go to shul on Rosh Hashanah?
No, the shul was closed. Every Erev Rosh Hashanah they closed the shul. So
I think they warned the people not to come on because they had heard.
Sure, the Erev Rosh Hashanah, the Rabbi Melchior, the Grand Rabbi, was already taken by the German. He told that nobody should be at home because he has information that the German will make a razzia. So Nobody was at home. Everybody found his...
And the shul was closed?
Closed, surely. And then we make private. Also my grandfather, from the father side, it took us a Torah, and we make a private synagogue in some places in the town. And Rosh Hashanah was Thursday and Friday, and Friday night the day began. They told Rosh Hashanah, but they didn't come Rosh Hashanah. A lot of people said it is not right, we're going back to our apartment. But we were waiting, and Friday night they didn't come to us because we were not in the list of the members of the community. We were not Danish. The members of the community was written. Yes, they had a rishima, a
list.
Yeah, but we were not there. So the German didn't come to us at all. So Shabbos in the morning, we get to our department, so nothing happened. Nothing happened. We don't know about it. And I went to the apartment of my uncle, because in the morning there was the bar mitzvah of his son. So I had to go a long way, about half an hour. And on the way I saw some German soldiers, but I don't think nothing. And then I came to the uncle, and I saw that the door was broken. And then I understand that something happened in the night. And then we came inside, and I saw all the people on there. And then I heard about what happened in the night. The German came to him, but he was not at home. And they didn't touch the Sefer Torah, and the table was a big kiddush for the bar mitzvah, but nobody could eat anything. And we opened the radio and heard about the German. They could take all the Jews from the community, and they put them in a closed machane. From there they came to the Theresienstadt. But they only succeeded in taking about 10 persons. The most of them were not at home. You see, nobody was at home. So, and then we heard that the Germans they took my uncle and 4 children. Because he was not thinking that is right. You see, some people they came again home. Rosh Hashanah they saw that nothing happened, and they get at home. The German came at 12 o'clock in the night. Yalla.
They took him.
Yeah, because he was thinking that that's not right. Nothing will happen, and then they took them.
And do you know how he died in Theresienstadt?
Yeah, he died in Theresienstadt.
Do you know how? Or
no, he was not eating. He was not eating anything. He thought that he cannot eat a tarif. No, he was not eating anything. And his wife and the children, Baruch Hashem, they came back.
Wow. So your family, Baruch Hashem, they never took your family?
All their family, they all came to Sweden. And my grandfather, from father's side, he came Kolnidre. He was on the ship Kolnidre, and he prayed the Kolnidre on the water, yes. And in his master, but he said to Sweden, the big master what he had, in a Havdule, with Tefillin, Besumim, so he came to Sweden.
Wow.
Malmö, he came in Leil Kolnidre.
And Manfred, can I ask, when you went on, was it a big boat that you went on?
No, it was a small boat. It was a small boat. Only about like this.
Was it similar to a boat like this?
Something like this. No.
And who owned the boat?
Huh?
Whose boat was it? Was it one of the Danish?
Yes, of the fishers. And
The
they
fishermen?
they took a lot of money, you know, because it's a big risk.
So this is.
A big risiko.
Was it a bit like a boat like this one?
No, not this. The other.
It was a boat similar to this.
Something like this. Big. It was not.
And who was it? Your parents and your sister, and who went on the boat? It was your family.
Okay, my father, mother, my sister. The other was I don't know who was it. Jews.
And were you scared at all to go?
Like sardines.
But were you very scared? Were you frightened?
Yes, because though what happened, the German was in the water. Yes, you see. But I heard that somebody gave them also. It's not
Not to tell.
Yes, I hope so. But we paid everybody 2,500 kroner.
Wow.
That was a 4 persons, 10,000 kroner. This is about today the 500,000.
Really?
A bill to Sweden on this day was 2 kroner. You see, good, he had a risk. The German can take his boat and his family. We don't know what happened, you see.
Yeah. No one knew. And your house? You closed your house? What happened to the apartment you were staying in?
We closed, and then the guy took all what we had in time and put it in something, in a magazine or something, and afterwards we didn't get together. This is a big history what happened. So,
but remember, can I ask, on the boat, what do you...
We came to middle of the water. It is about the limit between Denmark and Sweden.
Where did you live?
In the middle of the water, yes. It was about 1 o'clock. You know, if he going straight on, it's 1 hour. But he gets so along the coast, and not that the German not will think that about Jews going. So we get so in the middle of the water. The Sweden was waiting for us, and then they came with one. Here you take one to the Swedish boat, one more.
Swedish.
And then we was about 20 people in the boat of the Sweden, and they make coffee and some biscuits. And then we came to Malmö at about 4 o'clock.
So here they have it, a diagram in the book.
Yes.
From Copenhagen to Malmö.
Yes.
This is the book from Escape from Nazi Terror.
Yes, but we, you see, this is Copenhagen, yes, and we did not hear. And we go here, the round side, so here, until here.
Oh, you went.
That is the limit, yes.
Yeah.
And about here, the Sweden was waiting for us here and took us to Malmö.
And did you? Well, what time was it? In the middle of the night that you went?
No, on the day. For the morning morning about 8 o'clock to afternoon.
But you went to the boat at night, and then you waited till...
And then we came to Malmö, and in Malmö they made a big school, for all the flying people.
And in Malmö, who came to receive you when you came to Malmö?
The Rabbi Berlinger. Rabbi Berlinger, he came to, he was on the harbor and he received us. And the whole night we were going here and asking if you have seen this people, because know anything about the grandparents, what happened, because there was no telephone, nothing. It was not so easy. So.
And how long did you stay in Malmö?
Only 3-4 days, and then they sent us to another place in Horred, and Shanaraba. We went to Hildesheim, to the big hotel for the plating.
For the refugees?
Yeah, yes, refugees, and then after the old people stayed there, and the more younger people, they went. I went to Göteborg. There was a school for the Danish refugees, and my father went to Helsingborg. There are a colleague of my father, a Goy. When we came to Sweden, he wrote a letter to my father. I am very glad that you came to Sweden, and here I send you 200 Swedish crowns to begin something. You don't know that we had money with us. Very nice. And then he wrote to my father, I am ready to take you in my, he was also a stamp dealer, to take my father in the shop of him. My father very glad, so we took to Helsingborg and found a little apartment. All right. No, after the first month, my father said, no, must go it.
To give away.
What he goes said, I sent you 200 crowns.
Wow.
You see what is that is a goy. The whole, he was taking my father because he wanted to get his money. You see, no, that goy.
Wow.
So my father, they stayed. We got money. My mother got the Husche from her father.
That's the
exactly on the same week when we had when we need the people. My father get
inheritance. Yerusha's the inheritance.
Yeah. So my grandfather, he helped us twice. When we came from Germany to Denmark, he helped us, and when he died, half years ago, my mother got the Yerusha.
That's the inheritance.
So he had with the money, was rest of the money, my parents were living in Sweden to the end of the war.
And did your father manage to work as a stamp dealer?
No. What can you do? No, he had no stamps.
Nothing.
So he was sitting with Chevra, not doing anything.
And where were you staying for most of the time?
I was in Göteborg. There was a Danish school for reviews, and I was living in a Jewish family.
Is it near?
In Göteborg. You know Sweden. Göteborg is the harbor, the big harbor.
Oh, the big harbor. And did you ever go to Stockholm?
I have been in Stockholm, and my dad owned most of the Danish that got to Stockholm. I had a aunt in Stockholm, and I visited her. I visited her when it was Azerbaijan, I think it was in winter. Yes.
And here's a picture of you in 1943.
No, 44 in the summer.
It was in 44.
Yes. After I was 15 years, 15 years, 16 years. I visited because Hildesheim and Göteborg is only 50 kilometers. So I had a bike, and when I had time, I come to see them.
So this was actually before you went to. This picture was taken before.
No, before. When I was living in Göteborg, they were living there. So I had the possibility when I had Sunday, we was not learning no more. I took my bike and came to see them.
Sure, this is amazing.
50 kilometers is not in Sweden it's so like so, you know.
And you managed to get a bicycle?
Yes.
When you were in Sweden, you got
the first time I got...
It's a wonderful picture with you and your grandmother.
So...
And then I just want to ask, how long did you stay till when the war finished? Immediately did you come back to Denmark?
About 1 month they arranged, almost arranged the Danish ambassador in Sweden. They arranged all the things. We didn't do anything. I got a billet.
A letter?
Yes, exactly the day, when, what time, train with the train and so the boat and so.
And then you came back to Denmark?
Sure, he came.
And the apartment that you had?
No, there was no apartment more. We had to seek something, and it took time until my mother found something.
And Manfred, can I just ask, and your sister and your father and your mother, you all stayed together back in Denmark when you came back?
No, I came 2 days before my parents.
You came before?
Yes. It was, every town was arranging. They were in Helsingborg. It is only 4 kilometers to Denmark, but Göteborg is about 300-400 kilometers.
Wow, because it's so...
I got to my uncle. My uncle got back there. I was 2 days, and then I came to the Goy where we had been, and the Goy was astounded. What, are you coming back? He thought we were still in Sweden, not coming back.
But did they?
And he was a big gunner.
Oh, they took some of the
so the whole stock of my father.
Of the stamps.
And sold it.
And he never gave you the money.
And you see, that is a guy, and he excused us to the time. And then when we go, we took the things on the Marsan, there were, and then came back. He was astounded that he came back. So, again,
but there were many Danes that they came back and the positions were
he was a very Christian. He was praying all this, but he saying the Jews are not coming back. He said that he thought maybe we were staying in Sweden.
Wow. But Manfred, there were other families where they did get all their possessions back. There were other families.
Most of them got back.
Yeah,
most of them came back with all the things. Yeah. Most of them. But there was some was not. We was between them. We did not get back the things.
And can I just ask, when you came back, you stayed together as a family?
Surely, and I got to the second the school. I was in the second in gymnasium, and then to learn to make the bakbut,
the matric.
Yeah, and then I got to Switzerland and the Central Institute of Art, and I was a manual work my mother teacher of manual work, and I was sent to Persia. And in Persia I married.
Iran.
Married, and so in 58, in 56, no, in 58 we came to Israel.
In 58?
58, yeah, that's all. Good.
So Manfred, I just want to thank you again. 1 minute. I am so grateful to you. And I just want to mention, this is something unbelievable. You have, and it's closing the circle, you received from the Israeli government, this is an official with from the government, and you, from the presidents, it was President Rivlin, that invited you to a concert, and you were with the President of Israel and with the Danish ambassador.
Yes.
And you were together with the, it's very nice. This was in the house of the...
And then I saw Ari Kurzweil. He was also there.
And do you keep in touch with the other Danish...
Yes, I know, but I know, but here in Israel you're not seeing very much, because most of them today has his family, and we have not connection. They're the Danes in Israel, but they're not. They're no, the second generation. We have no relation. I have a relation with my friend in Yerushalayim. That's all. And I'm phoning to Melchior in Renana, maybe, and I have also a mishpucha in Kfar Saba. No, I have Baruch Hashem. I have so much.
You've got such a.
I don't know my. I have.
You're the Gabbo of the main shul.
I got the main shul, and I have a mishpucha in the whole. I have a Bnei Dodim children in Tzvat, in Ashdod, in Bnei Barak, in Beersheba. I have time.
So, Manfred, I want to thank you very much, and you should just have Mazel Bracha.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask you, lastly, what message do you give to your grandchildren and great-grandchildren and the future generations?
That they shall lishmor Torah mitzvot.
That is the message.
That's all. What can I? We all, Baruch Hashem, and most of the grandchildren, they're learning in yeshivas.
You must be very proud, and
surely.
And your parents and grandparents are very proud.
Of my grandchildren, I have two. They're rabbis, not in function, but one is in Tzvat. He is. I hope he will give a place where he can be rabbi. He is rabbi, but not in function. He is studying more. And the other, he is rabbi, but he is not working. He is not serving as rabbi. You see, rabbi comes the yore, yes, and then he can continue as rabbi. He continue with all the things.
Baruch Hashem.
Yeah.
So, Manfred, thank you very, very much. I'm extremely grateful to you.
No.
Kol Tov.
No, I have no.
Wow.
You will. Please, one more.
Okay, Manfred, I'm so grateful to you. Sure.
Take one more. Taste one more.
Okay. Manfred, we have an original pamphlet that the Germans dropped in Denmark.
Yes.
Can you explain what this pamphlet is that you kept?
Yes, they are telling us they will protect us from the English, from the English soldiers, protect us against the English. He will only come to protect you, and not. We are glad to to help us against the British. That's all. And it was in Denmark and Norway. But in Norway there was a big war. In Denmark they took the occupiers in 4 hours. There was nothing there was not time to make a war in Denmark.
And this is an original.
Surely.
And where did you find it?
Who I found it? They throw it down from the air. And I took one of them and I took it home.
And you kept it all the years?
Surely.
And it's written in Danish?
No, it is Danish, but it's a Danish, what can I say, a geagte Danish.
It's not...
No, it's a very, Danish, they make fun of it. And uten grund, they think Danish, Norwegish, German.
A mixture?
A mixture, yes. They were tipshim.
They were very foolish.
אם הם כבר רוצים לעשות משהו אוריגינל, זה יותר טוב לי נכון.
And Manfred, can I just ask, when you were in Denmark, did you ever have any bad experiences with the Germans, occupational, with the soldiers, the German soldiers?
We're speaking with them, yes, surely.
But was there any bad interaction?
No, not at all, not at all, no. The whole soldiers in Germany, they were coming to us in Denmark to make a recreation.
They weren't SS, or they weren't...
They had nothing against the Jews. The Jews only began in 1933 when Eichmann came to Denmark. Until the summer of 1943, there was nothing against the Jews. The synagogue was open, but we were fearing what can be. We don't know, but you heard about what happened in Auschwitz. We saw, and you know the name of Auschwitz. Don't think what was. Nobody was thinking what happened. In America, they don't exactly what happened, but we don't know anything.
You didn't know?
Nothing.
And when did you first get to know?
After the war. After when the Russian came to occupy Auschwitz, all this, and they told what happened, then we were saying that was propaganda of the communism. We don't believe what they are saying, that it was true. Only afterward, when they came back from we understand what happened. But during the war, we couldn't understand what was. The Americans, they know, but they do anything.
Also the British also knew. Thank you so much, Manfred. I'm so appreciate.